Anxiety. Something you and everyone else has experienced. If you're like me, I've battled with it all my life. While some people are able to cope with it and push on through, I myself struggle with this emotion immensely. Throughout my years, it's always been an issue in my day to day life. The wake up, the daily activities, the work, and even the rest. I know that a lot of people also deal with the same issue, and if you clicked on this video, you're probably one of those people who needs this as much as I. Life is hard, and this is one of those hard things that is meant to force you to just adapt, though that's easier said than done. You may have read a lot on how to better cope through therapies like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, or immediate relief practices like controlled breathing. While a lot of these do help, and is in fact proven to be effective, for me and for a lot of other people, it just isn't that simple sometimes. And it's only until recently that I've started to branch out, discover other ways of not eliminating, but managing through it, taking control, because it is your life after all. To help break this video into a more understandable readout, I'm going to talk about 3 separate sections in how I and you could manage anxiety. Number 1. Change your everyday lifestyle. It's all well and good learning how to cope with anxiety, but that can be hard if starting from the bottom of a steep muddy mountain. In order to start your journey, you need to give yourself the ladder to prevent slipping and regressing back to where you initially started. Almost like giving yourself the equipment rather than just focusing on the route. In regards of anxiety, the equipment you will need is more in your daily life habits. The food, the exercise, the sleep, the hobbies, and the downtime in between. Changing the way you eat, like eating healthy, and changing your exercise routine, like going to the gym or climbing, running, or even in my example, skating, really helps break your mind out of, let's do nothing today because I can't be asked. This feeling of demotivation is a direct pull towards creating anxiety and trapping your brain into a negative loop cycle. I myself was stuck for a long time in this loop. I would wake up, scroll reels, think of wonderful stuff I couldn't do, eat microwaved or instant cooked food, play games, sleep, and repeat. I was a maker of my own prison, forcing myself into bad habits. This eventually just worsened my anxiety. Every time something external from my regular routine would happen, the initial shock and overall fight or flight would be 10 times worse. And I did that. I did that to myself. What I'm trying to say is, even if you make some food that's different, perhaps follow a recipe online, even if you go outside and sit in the sun or rain for a couple hours, and especially if you decide to take up a new hobby, something you've never thought you'd be doing. This comfortable, uncomfortable change is what allows you to build the mental strength for the rest of your journey. The worst thing you can do to challenge anxiety is to overthrow yourself past your limits. Trust me, I know. Number 2. Change your everyday mindset. Your daily thoughts and how you perceive life will drastically change your overall output for life in general. You need to find a mentality that makes tomorrow feel doable, not something that just keeps you about surviving. Life isn't about somewhat surviving, it's about always living. A lot of people get caught up in the brainweb of, today is just another day and all I have to do is to survive. While in premise this works, ask yourself deeply, is it truly living? A couple years ago I had this mindset. I'd wake up and treat the day like another chore to complete. This kills all self-value and future motivation, and for anxiety, that is one of the biggest problems. By changing your overall mindset, your day-to-day thoughts, whether through religion, distractions, through hobbies, or finding something or someone else to live for and by, these changes to your life shift your deep core visualization. If you're not focusing on what to expect, if the unexpected happens, you can treat it with a warm welcome. For me, life became more important than anything. I stopped focusing on living day to day through routine, and I realized that living today as it's the last day really removed the worry of unfulfillment. You only live once, and most people forget that. Instead of speeding through life by creating schedules and demands, focus more on what you and your brain wants. For my example, some days I feel like skating, some days I don't. If I don't feel like it, I just won't. And I'll follow through the day doing something else like a walk, or go for a climb, or even lay in the grass. Don't let schedules ruin your day. Not only does that make life feel shorter, it just brews anxiety and worries. Lastly, number 3. Shift your internal voice. Every day you talk to yourself. You always have this sort of thinking voice that's separate, but also a part of you as a whole. It's kind of like another head on your shoulders, except this one knows you more deeply than anything else, because it is you. A lot of people tend to just ignore this. Oh, it's just how I think. But recently I started giving it more thought. I started realizing that the more I used it, the more it changed my everyday external life. As a quiet person, I often just talked through my brain. I never really talked out loud, especially in places like school. My internal voice has always been a place of isolation. The thoughts and the thought process just ends up causing me to be self-absorbed and oblivious to the world around me. I understand now this doesn't help. Spending all your time thinking to yourself in a way that your brain has created literally shapes you as a person outside. I recently decided I don't want that. I started small, little things, like talking out loud in the car on the way to work, or finding a lonely spot or time in the house to chat out loud. And the more I spoke, the more I started to understand myself. How I actually work is different when you actually hear it from your own real voice. It's almost like you're actually hearing it from a close friend who needs it. The more I spoke, the more anxious I sounded, always doubting and second guessing my words. My brain would say one thing, then immediately out of fear, respond negatively to that thought. My anxiety. But this time I could actually hear it, not just feel it. Ever since I've started challenging it, if I say something and immediately doubt or con that thought, I 180 the anxiety. I tell myself, no, it's fine, or why would I even think that? By doing this, I began to remove the anxiety from my internal thought and replace it with something more substantial: optimism. I think a big problem for this stuff nowadays is that everyone online just tells you to put up with it. It is what it is, or that's how it's meant to be. But anxiety doesn't tell you that, and in the moment, that can feel so secluded and so lonely. I made this video because I want people to just sort of see a world outside of that. I'm telling you how I combat it, not how you should, but how I do. And maybe in a way, that can help. I know a lot of what I've said this video is just brain yap, but to anyone who truly needs it and got this far, thank you. Even if I just reach one person, that alone makes everything I've said feel worth it. And I love you for spending the time to listen. I know anxiety is hard, I know the struggle and the constant battle, but I also know that you can overcome it. Anything is possible. Sometimes it just takes time, but all good things do. If you want more stuff like this, please comment and perhaps subscribe. It means so much, and if not, I wish you the best life because that's what you deserve. Peace.